Lieutenant Han Min Jae stood on the command deck of the SSV Ancient Nebula, gazing at the colossal yet time-worn ship. The distant starlight illuminated its rusted surface, and signs of aging, though presented as a gift from the Galactic Council. The vessel looked more like a forgotten relic than a symbol of interstellar cooperation. For the Council, handing over the ship was nothing more than an experiment to assess humanity's self-reliance. But for Min Jae and his crew, it was a fragile opportunity to prove humanity's worth on the galactic stage. The ship's exterior painted a bleak picture: tarnished metal plating, misaligned modular connections, and an overall aura of neglect. According to the Council's report, the main engine system operated at only 30% efficiency compared to modern standards. Living quarters were as cramped as cargo holds a silent but cutting irony for those who had dreamed of the vastness of space. Min Jae faced not only his team's disappointment, but also the task of maintaining a positive outlook. He knew that their faith in his leadership was being tested. Standing before his crew, he made no promises of comfort or success. Instead, he emphasized that this was their chance to demonstrate how human ingenuity and resilience could transform the impossible into reality. During the initial inspection, Chief Engineer Lee Sung-ho grumbled incessantly. A practical man, he found the ship's outdated and substandard components almost offensive. However, when he reached the ship's central reactor, Sung-ho fell silent. The reactor was unlike anything he had ever encountered. Rather than using modern synthetic fuels, it was powered by a rare type of energy crystal. According to the Council's records, these crystals had been used in ancient warships, but had been replaced by newer technologies centuries ago. Initially, Sung-ho doubted whether the crystals could function effectively, but upon closer examination, he discovered something extraordinary. The energy flow from the crystals was not only stable, but also had potential far beyond that of any modern system he knew. This raised a critical question: why had such a promising technology been abandoned? The discovery sparked an immediate debate among the crew. Some, including Sung-ho, saw an opportunity to use the reactor as a defensive weapon. This idea emerged against the backdrop of the Kraznith Empire's ongoing territorial expansion as they attacked and annexed neutral zones. With humanity's current technology, opposing the Kraznith seemed impossible. However, if the reactor could be weaponized, humanity might stand a chance. Min Jae, however, was not easily convinced. As a peace-trained officer, he was acutely aware that weaponizing this technology could have grave consequences. If humanity initiated an arms race, could they still uphold the ideals of peace as newcomers to the galactic community? Yet he also recognized that inaction could mean the annihilation of humanity. The debate among the crew raged for hours, with opinions deeply divided. Some argued that the Galactic Council had deliberately handed them the ship as a trap, expecting humanity to tarnish its reputation by turning it into a warship. Others believed this was humanity's chance to prove they were not weak, even when backed into a corner. Ultimately, Min Jae made a compromise. He agreed to let Sung-ho and the engineering team further study the energy crystals, but under strict conditions. The immediate goal was to understand the technology for humanity's defense, not to incite war. He emphasized that all future decisions must be carefully considered and guided by the principle of preserving peace. Chief Engineer Lee Sung-ho's team entered the makeshift lab aboard the SSV Ancient Nebula, their emotions a mix of excitement and tension. The energy crystals powering the reactor were not just a rare find. They held potential far beyond imagination. Their translucent, softly glowing appearance seemed to conceal secrets from an ancient civilization. These were not ordinary gemstones, but remnants of a long-lost technology from centuries ago. As GRE, a young physicist with bright, determined eyes, approached one of the crystals, something astonishing happened. The bioenergy emitted by her body, due to a rare genetic mutation with unique frequencies, triggered a reaction in the crystal. The reactor suddenly stabilized, and the energy readings on the monitor spiked to unprecedented levels. The entire team, including Sung-ho, was stunned by the phenomenon, which had never been documented before. This biological synchronization between a human and the crystals opened a new avenue of research. Despite feeling the weight of this discovery, Jia quickly realized that her unique ability might hold the key to unlocking the crystal's true potential. Over the following nights, she and Sung-ho worked tirelessly, focusing on optimizing the energy transfer through the reactor and experimental weapon systems. The first test of the crystal-powered weapon system took place in a reinforced vacuum chamber designed to withstand high energy levels. The team cautiously set a modest goal, activating the system at only 10% of its maximum capacity to ensure safety. When Sung-ho pressed the activation button, the chamber lit up with a brilliant blue flash. A concentrated energy beam fired, piercing through 3 layers of steel shielding without any dispersion or loss of intensity. The precision and sheer power of the weapon left the team in awe. Recognizing the defensive potential of the system, the team decided to keep their discovery a secret. Sung-ho and Min Jae agreed that revealing this technology to the Galactic Council could lead to unintended consequences. The Council, which had long dismissed humanity, might seize the technology under the guise of peaceful management. Meanwhile, the Kraznith Empire, an ever-looming threat, would undoubtedly exploit it to create a weapon of mass destruction. To maintain confidentiality, the team operated under absolute secrecy. Official reports stated only that the reactor was undergoing repairs and calibration. They even introduced deliberate flaws into other systems to divert the attention of technical inspectors away from the primary research area. As the research progressed, Jia rediscovered that the crystals were not just powerful energy sources, but also a form of primitive artificial intelligence. They could learn from the energy frequencies they interacted with, adjusting their operation for maximum efficiency. This raised a profound question. Were these crystals the product of an advanced alien species that had perfected the fusion of technology and biology? The crystal's self-adjusting capabilities not only enhanced the weapon system's efficiency, but also sparked serious concerns. If these crystals were ever exploited by malicious forces, they could evolve into self-learning, uncontrollable weapons. This possibility made Min Jae even more cautious. He instructed Sung-ho to develop an emergency deactivation mechanism to ensure the crystals could never be misused beyond their intended purpose of protecting humanity. Throughout the research, Min Jae's team faced numerous challenges. Some members began to question the true purpose of the project, fearing that developing weapons, even for defense, might lead to escalated conflict. Sung-ho, despite being captivated by the technology's potential, could not deny the ethical dilemma. They were treading a fine line between protection and destruction. This secret endeavor was not just an attempt to develop groundbreaking technology, it was also a test of the team's resolve. They had to balance ambition with moral responsibility while navigating internal and external pressures. In the vast and perilous expanse of space, every decision carried the weight of humanity's future. Subsequent experiments further reinforced their belief that the crystal-based weapon system was not merely a defensive tool, but a symbol of human creativity and survival instinct. Yet just as they were nearing a breakthrough, an unexpected crisis struck, threatening not only the project, but also the lives of everyone aboard the SSV Ancient Nebula. The unexpected midnight assault on Helios Station pushed everything to the brink of crisis. Alarms blared across the control room of the Ancient Nebula, jolting Min Jae out of his restless sleep. The monitor displayed live footage of Helios Station. 3 massive Kraznith warships were closing in, their energy cannons glowing like menacing lightning. The enemy's ultimatum was clear and cold. Evacuate within 6 hours, or the station would be utterly annihilated. The Galactic Council, as Min Jae had predicted, chose silence. To them, this was not an issue worth intervening in, especially when faced with the hostility of a formidable empire like Kraznith. The Council's neutrality, often emphasized, was little more than a facade hiding their passivity and fear. Min Jae knew that relying on their help would only lead to disappointment. As he addressed his team, Min Jae carried both determination and deep concern. He understood that deploying the ancient nebula for this rescue mission was a gamble. The ship, old and ill-equipped for battle, was now to face 3 state-of-the-art Kraznith warships. But he had no other choice. "We cannot stand by and watch our people perish," Min Jae declared, his gaze burning away any doubts among the crew. The journey to Helios Station tested their courage and skill. Throughout the flight, Chief Engineer Lee Sung-ho and his team worked tirelessly to optimize the crystal weapon system. Despite prior tests, there was no certainty that the technology could withstand a confrontation with a powerful foe like Kraznith. Hope and anxiety waged an internal battle within each of them as every minute passed. When the ancient nebula approached Helios Station, a signal from the Kraznith fleet commander echoed across the comms channel. His deep, disdainful voice fueled the team's anger. "What is that ship? A human toy? You're fools to think you can challenge us." Min Jae didn't respond directly. He remained calm, focused on the plan. On the monitor, the Kraznith warship's energy cannons glowed brighter, signaling their readiness to attack. Min Jae made his decision. "Activate the crystal weapon system," he ordered with unwavering resolve. A brilliant blue flash erupted from the ancient nebula, sending a sharp, powerful energy beam directly at the enemy fleet. The unexpected attack not only struck with precision, but also completely disabled the energy shields of one of the Kraznith warships. On the enemy's command deck, astonishment was evident on the officers' faces. How do they possess such technology? Wasting no time, Min Jae deployed the rescue team. Smaller ships from the ancient nebula darted toward Helios Station, carrying soldiers and technicians to evacuate the civilians. On board the mothership, Jiao Ri and Sung-ho continually fine-tuned the weapon system's parameters, prepared for any escalation. As the rescue crafts completed their mission and returned, the Kraznith forces, despite losing one warship, showed no signs of retreat. The remaining 2 warships concentrated their firepower on the ancient nebula. Min Jae, facing the imminent threat, remained composed. "Prepare for the second strike," he commanded. This time, the crystal energy beam not only disabled, but caused a chain reaction within the systems of the second warship, rendering it completely inoperative. The last Kraznith warship, witnessing the overwhelming power of the human vessel, was forced to retreat. The success of the rescue mission was more than just a military victory. It was a pivotal moment in human history. The ancient nebula, once dismissed as obsolete, had proven that with determination and ingenuity, humanity could overcome any challenge. Yet, Min Jae knew this victory was only the beginning. The enemy would not stop, and humanity must prepare for even greater confrontations in the future. The victory against the Kraznith was not just a historical milestone for humanity, but also a massive shock to the Galactic Council and the enemy itself. The ancient nebula, once dismissed as an outdated relic, had now become a symbol of ingenuity and resilience. Yet, behind the glory of triumph, hidden currents of tension threatened to undermine everything Min Jae and his team had achieved. Following the battle, the Galactic Council immediately demanded a comprehensive inspection of the ship. Leading the investigation was Park Tae-hyun, a powerful yet unpredictable figure. A staunch conservative and skeptic, he was deeply concerned that any action beyond the Council's control could upset the fragile balance of power in the galaxy. To him, the fact that a human ship could defeat 2 Kraznith warships wasn't just unusual but a potential threat. The inspection unfolded under a tense atmosphere. The engineering team aboard the ancient nebula had prepared meticulously. The crystal weapon system, which had secured their stunning victory, was flawlessly disguised as a standard reactor. Sung-ho, who spearheaded the concealment efforts, employed intricate shielding techniques to hide the system's key components. Every pipe, cable connection, and even residual energy signatures were carefully masked. "We cannot let the Council uncover this secret," Sung-ho emphasized. "If they do, not only will we face scrutiny, but Earth could lose its autonomy." Park Tae-hyun and his inspection team combed through every corner of the ship. Their sharp eyes left nothing unchecked, from the main engine room and cargo hold to the control panels. They even brought advanced energy analysis equipment to detect any anomalies. Meanwhile, Min Jae and GRE monitored the proceedings from the command room via cameras. If they discover, GRE hesitated, her voice filled with worry. They won't discover anything, Min Jae interjected, his tone firm though betraying his underlying tension. Hours of inspection yielded no irregularities. Ultimately, Park Tae-hyun had no choice but to accept the results. However, he left with a warning. I don't know how you did it, but remember, every action humanity takes is under the Council's watch. Do not cross the line. Min Jae gave a curt nod, hiding the complex emotions stirred by the brief exchange. Understood, he replied simply. Although the inspection ended without immediate consequences, the crew of the ancient nebula knew they were now under close scrutiny by both the Council and the Kraznith. Not long after, intelligence reports from frontline stations revealed a chilling piece of news. The Kraznith Empire was amassing a massive fleet of 30 warships, their target unmistakably Earth. Their earlier defeat had not discouraged them, it had only strengthened their resolve to assert their dominance. This revelation was a crushing blow to morale. Earth, the cradle of humanity, now stood on the brink of annihilation. Min Jae called an emergency meeting with the key team members. On the large screen, images of the Kraznith fleet were displayed in stark detail, each colossal ship bristling with destructive weaponry, their formations revealing meticulous planning and unrelenting determination. We're up against an overwhelmingly superior force in both numbers and technology, Sung-ho stated, his voice heavy with concern. Our ship, even with upgrades, is still just a repurposed freighter. However, Min Jae refused to let panic take hold. Rising from his seat, his gaze was resolute. We proved our strength in the last battle. We don't rely solely on technology. We rely on our intelligence and unity. This time will be no different. We will not back down. The meeting quickly shifted to strategic discussions. GRE proposed a bold idea. To use the crystal system to develop a new type of weapon, one not only capable of devastating attacks, but also of disrupting the enemy's control systems. However, executing this idea required absolute precision and came with limited room for testing. If we fail, the system could overload and destroy the entire ship, she cautioned. But given the dire circumstances, no one could afford to choose the safe path. In the days that followed, the crew worked tirelessly. They tested, refined, and optimized every detail. The looming threat of annihilation spurred them on rather than discouraged them. For Min Jae, this was not just a battle to protect Earth, but a declaration that humanity, though small, could stand firm against any force in the galaxy. The battle for survival was defined by the stark contrast between numbers and resolve. The Kraznith fleet, vast and technologically superior, dominated in sheer strength, but they faced Earth's fleet of force where courage and intellect turned a seemingly hopeless situation into an opportunity for victory. From the outset, Min Jae and his team were keenly aware of their position. With only 30 warships, their numbers were but a fraction of the enormous Kraznith formation. However, each ship carried an unshakable belief that the crystal technology they had developed was not just a weapon, but the key to safeguarding humanity in its darkest hour. The crystal weapon system, refined through continuous improvements, had now reached peak performance. Not only more powerful, but it was also optimized for energy efficiency, allowing Earth ships to maintain firepower for longer durations. This was critical, as energy depletion posed a constant threat in prolonged battles. Sung-ho, the chief engineer, worked tirelessly to ensure every system operated flawlessly. We can't afford to waste a single second. One small error could cost us everything, he warned in the final hours of preparation. The Kraznith fleet appeared with an overwhelming presence. Their colossal warships filled the dark expanse of space, their formation moving like a perfectly synchronized war machine. Yet, even in the face of such dominance, Min Jae maintained an extraordinary composure. He ordered the execution of their plan to break the enemy's formation, a strategy that relied on precise coordination among the ships, leveraging the agility of smaller vessels to distract and disrupt the Kraznith forces. The ancient nebula, now renamed the Frontier of Hope, led the charge and became the centerpiece of the battle. The renaming was not just symbolic, but a declaration that the ship embodied humanity's resolve to rise above adversity. When the Kraznith command ship came into range, Min Jae wasted no time in ordering the activation of the crystal weapon system. A brilliant blue beam of energy shot forth, piercing the shields of the enemy's flagship and reducing it to a floating wreck. This unexpected strike triggered a domino effect within the Kraznith ranks. The loss of their command ship not only disrupted their battle strategy but also spread panic and confusion. Kraznith's ships began to move erratically, their tight formation unraveling. Seizing the opportunity, Earth's fleet launched a coordinated assault, targeting isolated and disoriented enemy ships. However, the battle was far from one-sided. The Kraznith quickly adapted, concentrating their firepower on the weakest ships in Earth's formation. Several Earth ships were destroyed, dealing painful losses to the fleet. But rather than retreating, the sacrifices fueled an even greater determination among the crew. Min Jae's voice rang out over the communication systems. "We're not fighting for ourselves, but for humanity's survival. There is no turning back." At the height of the chaos, GRE, who had mastered the crystal technology, proposed a bold initiative, channeling all remaining energy into a wide-area strike to temporarily disable the control systems of nearby Kraznith ships. Min Jae understood the risks. This move was a double-edged sword. Depleting their energy reserves to such an extent could leave them defenseless if the plan failed. But with no other viable options, he decided to take the gamble. Once again, the Frontier of Hope took center stage. Under Min Jae's command and Sung Ho's technical expertise, the ship directed all its crystal energy into a single monumental blast. In that moment, space lit up with a massive wave of energy that rippled outward like an invisible tsunami, momentarily paralyzing dozens of Kraznith ships. Earth's fleet immediately capitalized on this opening, delivering devastating blows to the enemy. In the end, the Kraznith were forced to retreat, leaving behind a field of wreckage and burning ships. This victory was not just a military milestone, but a testament to the power of creativity and unwavering resolve. Yet, Min Jae remained grounded. He knew this was merely the beginning of a long and grueling war, where every victory would demand sacrifice and unrelenting determination. Victory in the battle was not only a matter of survival, but also a turning point in humanity's perception of its place in the universe. A deeper analysis reveals the significance of Min Jae's speech and the symbolic value of the Frontier of Hope in this context. As Min Jae stood before the fleet and its crew, the recent victory remained vivid in everyone's minds. But instead of celebrating, he chose to emphasize a greater lesson. Technology alone does not determine survival. It is creativity and unity that are humanity's greatest weapons. His words were not merely inspirational. They captured a fundamental truth about the strength of humankind. The crystal technology, no matter how powerful, was merely a tool. True success lay in humanity's ability to harness intellect and resolve to turn that tool into a shield for life. Creativity, demonstrated through the development of the crystal system, was a cornerstone of this success. Once dismissed as impractical and lacking potential, GRE and her team had proven that human ingenuity could turn the impossible into reality. Yet even more remarkable was the unity that propelled humanity through this ordeal. In their darkest moments, from Min Jae to every member of the crew, everyone worked tirelessly, prioritizing the collective good above all else. This unity not only created strength, but also laid the foundation for the growth of an entire species. The Galactic Council, a powerful but often criticized organization for its apathy and neutrality, could no longer ignore humanity. Their changing perception carried profound implications. Once considered weak, dependent, and unworthy of a place in the galactic community, humanity's victories centered on the frontier of hope sent an unmistakable message. Humanity was no longer a desperate supplicant pleading for protection, but a people willing to stand and fight for their future. The frontier of hope was more than just a warship. Its name was etched into the collective consciousness as a symbol of resilience and triumph over adversity. From a vessel once regarded as obsolete and worthless, it had become an emblem of human will and creativity. Renaming the ship was more than a mere change of title. It was a recognition of humanity's transformation from doubt to unshakable belief in its potential. This victory also raised profound questions about the future. If humanity could overcome its limitations, what more could it achieve? The Galactic Council, now seeing humanity in a new light, could become a genuine ally or at the very least, a body that no longer dismissed humans as weak. But would this shift come with new challenges? Humanity faced the pressure of maintaining its hard-won achievements, not only in the eyes of its allies, but also in preparing for future assaults by the Kraznith or any other threats lurking in the cosmos. Min Jae's speech tied all these elements together. It was not just a declaration, but an inspiration and a direction for the future. He refrained from boasting about technology or victory, and instead focused on humanity's core values, creativity, and unity. His words were not only for those who fought alongside him, but also a message to all of humanity, that no matter the challenges ahead, they could be overcome by standing together and pressing forward. As the frontier of hope came to symbolize this message, it also served as a reminder that humanity must always move forward, never forgetting the lessons learned from the ashes of the past. Among the stars, humanity was no longer a disregarded race, but a new light, a beacon of hope for the future.